We've entitled this session Grappling with Realities, a conversation with Manuel Ocampo and Manny Garibay. As you all know, they're among the two of the 5 featured artists this year, and I'm sure you've seen their works at the second floor, very powerful works. So just a brief introduction. Manuel Garibay was born in Kidapawan, North Cotabato, Philippines in 1962, and he's known as much for his expressionist figurative style as for the content of many of his works, which often express a keen social and political consciousness. He completed a degree in fine arts at the UP College of Fine Arts in 1989 and was part of the group called Artista ng Bayan, or ABAY. After a stint as an education officer in the cultural division of the Malacanang Palace, I didn't know this. Okay lang. I'm reading the one that's published. Yes, I think so. See? Insider, first-hand account. He commenced work as a full-time artist in 1990 and began his studies at the Union Theological Seminary in 1992, completing a master's degree in divinity in 1995. So you know where he's coming from. He believes that art can be effective medium of awakening consciousness, and believes an awakened consciousness through art can help people pull themselves out of their dependency and feeling of powerlessness to being about empowered change. I think it's a very relevant philosophy approach, especially now. Manuel Ocampo was born in 1965. Welcome to the club. Is known for his frequent and strategic stylistic drifts in response to new context and subject matter. His shows are often constructed around contradictory tendencies, elaborating discrepancies between what the painting appears to be and how it behaves in relation to the structures of the structures that legitimize its appearance. During his 2019 residency in STPI, these are the works that you see downstairs. The STPI Creative Workshop and Gallery, he translated his distinctive visual language to the medium of tapestries, print and paper, bringing new techniques to his typical imagery. The works that resulted from this residency defy the ambiguity and make it accessible, and are supplied with a ghostly backdrop of complex materiality, history, and onto which the layers is own. For this session, we will be showing 2 short videos produced by Art Fair Philippines, studio visits, which they did. I'm not sure if it's accessible yet, but this is for everyone. This probably is the first time you will see it. After which, Manny will talk about the project. We have some slides of the works exhibited downstairs. And then Manuel will also have he prepared some images to talk about his practice. So that's how the flow will be. And then we'll have a conversation after.
Are there forces out there who are deliberately suppressing our connectedness to history, to our roots? a sense of being rooted, a sense of giving value to our past that gives definition to who we are at the present. It's an attempt to understand the transitions, the evolutions of how the dynamics of belief, both in terms of consciously practicing it through institutions, or how it is experienced, exercised in terms of its manifestations in our way of life, the choices we make, the way by which we associate with certain slants on particular issues. It's the effect that creates some kind of both confusion, discontinuity, and at the same time, the diminishment of reason why one feels somehow compelled to stay connected with things that represent traditions, but at the same time are also losing its connection with the pressures of how life is lived in the moment. It's multifaceted in so many ways. In other words, it's an attempt to make a broad presentation of that dynamics of belief, lifestyle, social order, and ultimately how as a representation of the forms play into that picture. In a way of analyzing the dynamics in cultural transitions in society, there are definitely certain sectors that are out to suppress collective memory. A major concern kasi for me is how art can successfully represent how we wrestle with the state of being alienated, our state of fragmentation in terms of like, do we really subscribe to a common understanding, a common conviction of who we are? And that's very easy to measure in terms of how we respond to national situations, to national issues, our apparent apathy to how certain national leaders are misbehaving. Parang we see it as entertainment, but we are not appalled by the whole idea that people who supposedly represent the nation, who are being supported by the people's taxes, can just say whatever they want, can just do whatever they want. No? Dahil it appears that we do not have or we do not adhere to a sense of value, a sense of collective identity of what makes us who we are, what makes us Filipino. So is being Filipino looking at politics as entertainment, looking at culture as something to be consumed, looking at it as brands. So there has to be some serious introspection. That's among the things that I hope to get started with as a form of conversation in my show.
Art, in a sense, is food,
And I am the glutton that gets nourished and poisoned by it both at the same time. The desire of the avant-garde artist wanting to push the limits. This overused sentiment is akin to our gut health, wanting to push the condition of our constipation until the pushing of the limits succumbs to the inevitability of an intestinal mishap. As far as painting is concerned, my primary goal is quite simply painting. My art varies greatly in style. in my practice is an ongoing exploration of painting's potential and its limitations. The question of what to paint and how to paint it, these questions hover around my head like flies buzzing around a small mound of shit.
Well, printmaking is very collaborative in nature, and the result comes from the skill of the printmaker. Since every move is discussed, debated, and agreements reached even before putting ink onto paper, I can say that the process of printmaking is a contractual process. The process at STPI is that I give the printmakers images and they come up with their end result, which is the print. We discuss and approve and I sign. My time at STPI was fruitful. It's different from my usual practice because as a painter, I do things on my own. I'm alone in my studio. With the printmaking project, especially at STPI, I have people. I'm surrounded by technicians. The decision-making process is not only up to the artist, it's also up to the technicians, the printmakers, and even the manager of STPI, the director. A glutton never picks and chooses.
He just shoves everything into his
his
mouth.
It's just my digestive organs choosing
Which food to vomit out or which to keep in their system. Maybe what's vomited out of my system is what becomes my work.
I guess they're abstractions. I don't know. It depends on my mood.
Yan. So I talk about that? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, okay, the whole thing. Oo, kasi, well, I consider it as one work, no? Everything, the show. So it's like trying to recreate a church, an experience of what it's like to be in a church, and how the whole idea of what we consider as sacred transition from time to time, no? So, and then the contrast of how parang the times, in terms of its complexion, also transition. No? So in this case, you have the first two panels as you enter, so they're actually not in the right order at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. No? Kahit na ano, kasi in fact, the heading sa top is Eschaton, and the other one is Genesis. No? So Hebrew and Greek. So it sort of suggests in the first place, parang yung belief system natin as coming from Asian, and then it becomes European, no? And then the first two figures there, actually there's four of them. You have Sigmund Freud and Edward Bernays. You know who Sigmund Freud is? Probably you don't know Edward Bernays. He pioneered propaganda and advertising. So he's the guy responsible for why we consume stuff that we don't really need. No, so parang how we even consider Coca-Cola and cigarette as health products. No, that's how it was packaged back then. And then, of course, on the other hand, you have Homer and Tolkien. So two major storytellers from the West again. Now the main thing about Homer, he's supposed to be the author of Iliad. Iliad is considered the Bible of the Western civilization prior to being Christians. And the manner by which, and I got this from James, the story of the Iliad is transmitted from generation to generation, was originally through oral tradition. So just imagine how much memorization it requires in order to keep the whole story intact and passed on to next generations. And then, of course, you have Tolkien, who pretty much carries on with the tradition of telling the narratives of, the heroism, the mga ganong kwento about everything that kind of pertains to the warrior culture and virtues of the West, no? So, sorry? Oh, it's okay. You may, pwede kayong sumingit and time, do the fact-checking, mga ganon. As if it still matters, no? Si Ambet would know. And then, of course, on the other hand, you have these two guys. So these are, like we're saying, these are the new gods right now. Of course, you have, what's this guy? Elon Musk. You know, hawak niya in Mars. And then there's a, what do you call that? A troll. Yun, ayan. That's how he, kaya siya nanalo sa, his guy won the elections. But this guy, no, is also responsible primarily for obliterating memory, no? So the constant flooding of content, no, sa Facebook, and then every time, parang laging there's always a new content, yung ganun. But that's the whole idea. You're not supposed to remember, no? So it's just parang pasok lang ng pasok ng mga sensation of whatever contents there is. No? And then at the bottom you have funerary jars. Did you know that they're funerary jars? No? Yeah, mga ganon. So those, just to remind us, eto tayo. No? We're dead. Ayan. Oy. Before I talk about this, let's move to this one first. So again, parang taking from Greek mythology, this is Mnemosyne. She is the mother of the muses, no? And her name translates in English as memory. Okay? So dahil tulog siya, so inactive din yung mga muses, no? Parang wala sila. They don't know what to do, but they're supposed to be dancing, no? Okay? So again, parang if you notice, medyo it's really kind of didactic, no? I'm always trying to tell things. Ayan. Sorry. And these are some of the local muses, and many of whom are probably unfamiliar to many of the young viewers. Dahil, again, it's like saying, kita mo, hindi mo maalala, hindi mo makilala. Because hindi na natin pinapahalagahan, di ba, yung mga ganon. So, some of them would probably be familiar to you, no? Probably the most familiar one would be Dolphy, no? Yung ganon, dahil nabuhay pa karamihan sa atin when he died. Sorry. There you go. Before we go to this, now this parang puts a lot of the three major periods, I would say, in history. No? So this is pre-modern, this is modern, and post-modern. No? All in one. Kita nyo, ma'am? Art history. So you have Jesus there, no? And trying to prove that the resurrection is true. No? But the guy here, no, who represents modernism because he needs evidence, proof, mga ganon, and reason, all of that. But then also he's postmodern dahil he's not really interested even if it's true. No? Ganon. So, yan, so that's Thomas. No? So parang I'm trying to tell stories na pinagsasama-sama lahat. No? Ayan, eto. So, hindi naman kompleto yon kung wala yung, so you have the crucifix, then you have the stations of the cross. Okay? So, I think this is very self-explanatory. No? Ito yung mga krus na pasanin ng lipunang Pilipino, mga iba't ibang yugto ng pagpapahirap sa sarili. No? So, parang mukhang napaka, what do you call that? Masochista natin. No? Gusto natin pinapahirapan sarili natin. Ayan. So that includes, a wide range of conditions, no, starts, well, my main emphasis really is miseducation, no, kunyari, number 4. So they're really not in any kind of order. Parang yung numbering is just to denote that they are the stations of the cross. No? Yung ganon. So, ayan. I had, medyo na-enjoy ko tong part na to. And then, let's go to this one first. So, this is like, alam niyo yung malakas at maganda na kwento? Nabiyak yung kawayan, okay? So, but in this case, it's an Ionic column, no? It's a Greek column made of Nara. So parang tipong, mukhang familiar yun mukhang Pinoy na, and that's exactly how these, yung mga white bulol are represented. So parang tayo yon, brown sa labas, puti sa loob, mga ganon. Pero ayun, yung mga ganong kwento. It's like trying to say things as they are, no? It's how we syncretize different segments of our colonial past, incorporated into, parang our narratives, and get confused along the way, no? And then, of course, that's the head of Rizal, supposedly. But this is taken from the book of El Fili. No? So, sir, alam niyo po yan. No? You know what this is about? The talking head. No? So it's supposed to come with an audio, kaya lang pero hindi malinaw no? So, but the words are in Tagalog, no? Mamamatay tao, sinungaling, ipokrito, paulit-ulit, no? Hinimatay si Padre Salvi, yung ganon. So, and it's also parang in a way, parang connecting it to the Basi Revolt, no? So the leaders of the Basi Revolt were hanged, and then their heads were cut off and then placed in bird cages. No? Yung ganon. So, but then, may masayang kwento. Ayan, there you go. So this is how we, and then again, no, this is all about Rizal overdressed, no, in a tropical country. So ngayon, hinubaran natin. Pero hindi lang yan. But this is actually parang trying to make a correlation or a connection between the Vitruvian man, no, as the resurrected Rizal. So this is the occasion of the resurrection, wala na siya sa krus. But this is also the whole idea that, again, I'm being preachy here, ito yung sukat ng pagiging Pilipino. Si Rizal, this is all about, it also parang represents the ideals, no, of the classical civilization, no, na yung the pursuit of trying to be the best that you can be. Maybe you can, some call it perfection, no, but I avoid that word. But although the whole idea here is man as the measure of the universe of perfection, so it's very humanist. So this is basically where it's all going to now. Parang I'm using art as basically a means to communicate my whole agenda of human emancipation. That's it.
Hello.
Sans aucun prétexte, je m'en vais devant toi surexposer mes yeux. Derrière un Kleenex, je serai moi.
I don't know if that's true, but is it? I don't know. It sort of resonated with me. Anyway, to begin my talk, I'm going to read something. I want to title my reading, Grappling with Reality, Artistic Truth in a World of Curated Illusions. Can you read it says on the sign on the Devil's Tail is, "Art is useless, go home." Artistic laws demand their own destruction on the nose of the king. Okay, let's see. No, it's okay. Let's make it chaotic. Oh, okay, not there anymore. Anyways, I was going to talk about something. Okay. The title of this talk, Grappling with Realities. Is it true? Is that the name of this talk? Grappling with Realities, no? In which the description says, to paraphrase it, says, how the artist's distinct approach to social realism, tackles sociopolitical issues. This prompted me to reconsider reality's relationship to my artistic practice. While I've never consciously identified my work or myself as social realist, well, first of all, a social realist, the thing to do is to resist art fairs. Anyway, the title of this lecture sparked reflection on an unrealized project that edges into the social realist territory. Who's familiar with Real Living magazine? Everybody's familiar with Real Living? It's sort of a lifestyle magazine. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about this magazine incident and how it created a catalyst for reflection. This introspection began with an unexpected encounter. Years ago, an editor for Real Living magazine proposed to feature my home. At the time, I lived in the ragged border of QC and Marikina, in a house that embodied chaotic authenticity. My immediate reaction to the suggestion of the editor was refusal, because outside of our gate was human shit, and in the backyard, an unburied dead cat. Inside, monoblock chairs, mismatched tables, piles of laundry, cockroach carcasses, and the pungent odor of neglected cat litter. It was a shrine to the unglamorous, a far cry from the sterile, sunlit utopia plastered across lifestyle magazines. Yet a rebellious thought emerged. What if I embraced this mess? Instead of staging perfection, why not showcase the disarray? The magazine, after all, peddles fantasy. Pristine kitchens, minimalist shelves, lives unblemished by clutter and debris. Their curated spreads exist to manufacture desire, convincing readers that happiness lies in the next purchase. Smelly, messy reality is edited out because it doesn't sell. This experience crystallized a broader critique. I fantasized about subverting this by creating a guerrilla supplement called Unreal Living, a zine celebrating chaos and of ordinary homes. Sneaking these inserts into glossy magazines would mirror social realism's mission to confront audiences with unvarnished truths they've been trained to ignore. That's my cat. Social realism or social realism, the Philippine context. This led me to question the term social realism itself, particularly in the Philippines. The movement historically aimed to explore societal inequities. Its local iteration often feels paradoxically elitist. Many works hang in galleries prized beyond reach of the masses they depict, bought by oligarchs who may oppose tyranny yet perpetuate economic oppression. By the way, I'm not against the artists who work in the social real style. What I'm against is the label. It's sort of like a branding and a marketing thing. Anyways, this irony begs for a rebranding. Social, like bourgeois realism, where revolutionary aesthetics become luxury commodities. The martial law era exemplifies this tension. Social realist art critiquing Marcos' regime found patronage among dissident elites, the same class exploiting the labor of farmers and workers portrayed in the canvases. Here, parallels emerge with China's cynical realism, a term capturing art that skewers societal hypocrisy with grim humor. Both movements reveal how easily dissent can be co-opted by the powerful. Cliches and stagnation. Okay. The limits of Philippine social realism too often, Philippine social realism relies on tired tropes. Clenched fists, broken chains, caricatured politicians. These motifs, while visceral, lack the subversive wit of the Western predecessors, like George Grosz or Jacob Lawrence. Instead of evolving, the genre risks becoming nostalgic protests, art frozen in the 70s. The result, a sanitized version of struggle, rendered in oil for gallery walls, estranged from the streets it claims to represent. So we're looking for my proposal towards a new realism, absurdism, and self-implication. In contrast, artists like Robert Langenegger and Romeo Lee revitalized the genre. Langenegger's work, what I term social absurdism, dives into the grotesque, the politically incorrect, pedophiles, racial tensions, and anthropomorphic perversions. His non-judgmental lens forces viewers to confront their own complicity in societal rot. Similarly, Romeo Lee practices a post-coital devolutionary realism, a nod to post-EDSA disillusionment, inserting his own face in every figure he paints. Wait, Santo Niño. Oh, where is it? Yeah, there. Santo Niño, slum dwellers, Ice King of Game of Thrones, even cats. This solipsistic humor underscores that all art is itself, is self-portraiture.
We cannot divorce ourselves from the system we critique. Art then becomes a mirror and a hammer. This is Robert Langenegger's work. Yeah. 2 cops pissing on the corpse that they just salvaged while stealing from its wallet. And there's a certain rebellious ornament in the cop car. Yeah, it's like a skull, gear shifter. I have more examples of Robert's work, but people say it can be people might interpret it as too misogynistic. It's like construction workers raping and and torturing a woman, a rich Westerner. Anyway, Robert and Romeo Lee exemplifies a realism that refuses to flinch. Their work is a funhouse mirror, distorting. Sorry, I forgot to wear my glasses. Distorting our complacency and compelling us to laugh at the absurdity of oppression. This perhaps is the path forward for social realism, not just documenting reality, but weaponizing its contradictions. As for the supplement, Unreal Living, it remains a fantasy, unrealized, but the impulse remains. Yet a question lingers: can any critique embedded in the market truly escape commodification? Even this essay becomes part of the cultural economy it examines. The challenge then is to keep the dialectic alive, to create art that claws at the walls of the gallery even as it hangs within them. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Parang hirap i-ano. Actually, when we were planning this this session, it's apparent that their practices are quite very distinct. So I propose a few questions just to go back to some basics or aspects of your respective practices, and hopefully that would connect what each of them have shared with us this afternoon. I mentioned about how each of you use symbolism, no? And then how I guess that's also relevant to how you, Manuel, saw how Romeo and Robert also used images, no? How did that, for both of you, when did you realize the power of images as when you were in your early stages of being artists?
I think, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
I think when I was growing up, I don't know, maybe I'm just making this up. When I was growing up, my dad is Catholic and my mom is born again. And, well, my brothers too are born again. And my dad has, the cross and the saints. And, well, my mom converted to born again because of my brother. And all of a sudden, the cross and the Catholic symbols in the house were sort of forbidden. There was sort of like a fight between my mom and dad because of these symbols. And when I was growing up, it confused me so much, and that's when I realized, these symbols, when I was growing up, they're abstract. They're just like, okay, it's something that in the house, and then all of a sudden they become loaded. When my mom didn't believe in it anymore. So, and for my dad too, it's something that has some significance.
So meanings were imposed in a way.
Yeah, meanings were imposed.
And so in a way, that's what you're also doing with your.
No, I'm not imposing.
I'm sorry.
With my
using
work,
it with different.
with my work, I'm abstracting it in certain ways, and I'm making them ambiguous, making them not mean anything in some ways. Okay, like for example, my swastika tattoo. It's like I can't have a Westerner say, "Oh, that's a bad symbol," because I didn't make that symbol. It's in all cultures, and for you to tell me that it's forbidden to use, then who are you?
Right.
Maybe for you yourself, it's forbidden for you because you're ascribing meaning to it. But for me, it can be open.
You adopt your own meanings.
Yeah. I mean, it's as an artist, you fuck around with it. You fuck around with symbols, make it ambiguous, and it's the only way you can resist sort of the imposition of meaning by someone else.
Manny?
Yeah. Well, enjoy ko yung sinasabi niya. So I was... Yeah, but I think my main disadvantage is I come from a Protestant background, so there's the absence of the concreteness of symbols that directly correspond to beliefs. So parang it's kind of very abstracted and very doctrinaire and all that. So I had to develop my own way of representing thoughts and ideas through metaphors and symbols. But I think my main agenda has always been like, at a young age, I was already attracted to activism, and then at some point I got so disappointed with the way the revolutionary mass movement and then the arts program that came with it was carried out. So I persisted, and I still maintain some kind of a kind of looking forward possibilities as far as how art, the visual language, can somehow make that connection and enables people to be more compelled to consider their situation, especially at a time when that is aggressively being taken away from us. No? So, and I do realize the limitation of like doing it in this environments, because it's like parang, I guess in general, no, the market kills what the subversiveness of art. No? So we take it to where the people are more directly. So I I play my role. I'm part of this ecosystem, and fine, because I'm here, and then I play along. Okay. But then I take it outside, and there's a different story that goes on there. And I guess for most part, that's where I feel most connected to when I work and relate directly with people in the ground.
And this is, well, not necessarily through linangan, other
That as well as its other iterations. So like we're doing some kind of an extension program. And mind you, we deal with LGUs, we deal with the so-called unsavory figures in politics. So I get my pictures taken along with these people, and I actually stake my own reputation, no? At risk. Pero that's all part of the, that's all part of what needs to be done in order to. So I guess I'm just too driven to.
Manuel, ikaw, yung ecosystem that Manny referred to, in your case, how would you describe that ecosystem that you
Well, I'm just a painter in my studio, and my other life is I'm a keyboard warrior.
keyboard warrior, okay.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I mean, we all occupy different realities, I guess, and there are games you play, and you perform. A lot of times, everything is performative, and I don't know what I'm going with that. So.
Well, I guess what I also wanted to touch on is, I'm not sure if you're still, how do you call it, aggressively pursuing projects with other artists.
Oh yeah, I do a
So
lot of.
it's really more of that?
I do
Maybe you
a
can
lot of
share,
collaborations.
Yep.
Yeah, I do a lot of collaborations with other artists, Romeo, Robert. I mean, my first show here in the Philippines was a collaboration with Romeo Lee, in which the show I proposed to this gallery, Magnet Gallery, because it was in an area in ABS-CBN where they produce stars. I proposed to this gallery, well, can I propose to you with the project of making Romeo Lee a celebrity, a star. And so it's sort of like a star-making project, but to counter the star-making project of ABS-CBN. Instead of starlets or celebrities with unblemished skin and nice face, tall. We have Romeo Lee, who's dark, whose face is, is he here?
Nandito
Maybe
ba?
I'm insulting him. Whose face is
I'm sure he won't
pockmarked.
mind.
And so the project was how to make a star, and I was supposed to be his manager, and we took him to the salon to get a facial, and he's getting his white heads or black heads removed. But we're filming it. We're filming it in a micro, with micro lens, and you can see the the white heads, like worms, like that. It's like a video for National Geographic, And so sometimes I try to do these things to sort of like, I don't know, subvert, the
I
institutional
think you
templates.
You actually succeeded because he's still famous. I mean,
Yeah,
he outlived his
Yeah.
fame outlived the starlets in ABS.
Exactly.
I guess you.
Yeah, but do
you
I
did
get a
something
commission
right?
with that?
Yep.
No?
You should. You
No.
should ask.
Yeah, so those are the things. I mean, these things come organically. In fact, after that project, I was thinking of making him into a politician, like Romeo Lee for president. And it felt like I was exploiting him already.
Okay.
So
You stopped.
we were supposed to paint a billboard, and we distributed posters. This was in 2003. We distributed
Wow.
posters everywhere. I don't know if you saw those things.
No.
It's like Romeo Lee in a cow suit, and and it says everyone in them wants to be a Romeo Lee or something like that, or wants to be as cool as Romeo Lee. So we had all these slogans and stuff. It's just really to make fun of the, you know, the mainstream thinking,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Okay, I want to open the floor to some questions, comments from the audience for now.
Hi, I have two questions. Well, okay, so times are rapidly changing along with, so many things are happening today everywhere, which means that the way we think, perceive, and react changes also. So how do you both actually grapple with reality today compared to how you did like when you were, I guess, younger? So that's my first question. And then for my second question is, I guess for emerging artists such as myself, how do you think must art respond to these rapid and sometimes regressive changes today? That's all, thanks.
What's the question? Yung first question ulit na dalawa kasi.
The first is, how do you both actually grapple with all these changes in our realities today compared to how you did siguro when you were younger? Or is there any changes?
Never really thought of that. No, it's like you just live and you just kind of do what you do. But I do realize that there is a contrast between how it was then and how it is now. No. I think the technology sort of accelerated a lot of things, and you know the pace by which the complexion of the world around us is so fast that it's so hard to catch up. No? And then you kind of wrestling with the thought of like, how can I continue to connect? No. So, like you're witnessing the shifts in attitudes and the outlook of a lot of people. The younger generation, for most part, has apparently a disregard or dismissive attitude towards things that represent the past and the institutions that's built around them. And at the same time, I see myself as like I'm partly part of that, you know? And am I being kicked out? Ganon. Well, the strategy is to connect but fortunately for me, I have kids, no? So I'm always talking to them, always kind of, so why things are the way they are, ganon. And then that's how I actually came up with the segmentation of art history. You know, so parang pre-modern, very religious; modern, very rational, very scientific. And then you have the anything goes kind of period where the general attitude is perhaps whoever is most assertive wins out. No? So just look at the situation in the United States, no? And then the global events, no? Parang is an indicator of the disregard for the so-called truths, no? It doesn't have any value anymore, no? Yung ganon. So the way I try to deal with that, and one of the things I notice about, when you study the patterns in history, there's like a cycle. It's like a revolution. There's always a tendency where it goes back to something that is familiar, something that's more grounded, something, So in other words, like how did the Renaissance emerge? It was right after, the chaos and disarray that was mostly characterized during the Dark Period, the Dark Ages. yung ganon, the plague. So parang it's like there will always be movements towards restoration on the basis of order, yung ganon. So that's how I'm kind of aligning myself with. That's why like my work in this exhibit ends with the Rizal as the Vitruvian man. Now the other question is,
For emerging artists, how do you think must art respond to these rapid and regressive changes today? I guess like advice for emerging artists.
I think one should not be too self-conscious. Try not to think too much. Try to be more intuitive and not to be too brand conscious, you know. And most of all, try to be more connected to the physical reality. Masyado na kasing dominant yung virtual reality. No? So, in other words, we just need to reconnect with our basic humanity.
Grappling with reality. I think we need to learn some wrestling moves with that. I don't know. For me, it's hard when you have ADHD, you know. Advice to young kids, don't use drugs. I don't know. It's a different thing now, because I remember my gallerist. They keep asking me to go on Instagram, and whenever I post a work, I need to hashtag them and hashtag a curator, and like what Manny said, that you have to be connected. They always want me to be connected. They always want me to call this curator and that curator, this collector, that collector. It's like, hey, I'm doing your job already, you know? It's like, I'm supposed to just be in my studio painting, and what you're telling me is to not paint and just be on the phone 24/7. No, okay, so we're like reversing the roles, but I realized that as an artist, you're just an artisan, actually. I don't know what's an artist, anyways. So I don't know, for young artists, if they're able to do that for themselves and not rely on anybody else, that's good, because they're young, they can do it. I'm not young anymore, so I try to not conform to those standards. You know, I try to resist them, and since I've sort of made a name for myself, I have the power to say fuck you. So the young artists, advice for the young artists is to slowly try to get old.
Wag magmadali.
Yeah, huwag magmadali. And embrace growing old. You know, being young is, when I was young, it was difficult. You know, you're always lost, and you're always looking up to like older people or somebody else. You know, be your old self, I guess.
Hi, my question is more about like, as artists, you probably do have an expert opinion now on social realism and doing sociopolitical works. Now, they would say that art is a way to self-express and to creatively state your opinion, but from your expert opinion, where are their boundaries, and where do you put the line of saying, okay, that's not social realism anymore, and that's not my work?
I wasn't so clear for me.
Can you repeat the question? So
Yeah.
the basic question is,
Yeah, the basic question is, okay, what is not social realism? And what is stuff that you would not consider your work as being social realist?
It's hard for me to answer because at the onset,
it changed.
I really have some kind of discomfort with being branded as a social realist. I guess same with Manuel. No, parang I also have struggles as am I an artist? I'm not sure if I am. No, because like I do a lot of stuff, and my main compulsion is just to get as much as I can from being alive, yung ganon. And although my main compulsion also is to paint, no? And for most part, it's more an abstraction of a form. So it's too formalist. It's very modern. Most of the works that I do, no, kaya lang the stuff that I put on exhibit somehow end up as more narrative, more representational. So I think I just have to embrace the inner conflicts that I am, no? As a person, as an individual. Because the reality is like you cannot be a one-dimensional person because it's a very complex world. So with each adjustment, with each kind of adaptation that you make with different situations, creates a different individual in you, you know. So, but then actually that's the beauty of it, no? Parang it's you realize you're always learning, no? Kaya nga ang sarap eh. Yeah, so and I guess that's why although I'm not really a good painter, no. Actually, I look up to this guy. He knows his colors. Magaling siya magkulay, no. And I'm kind of even amazed at how people regard me na parang so parang I feel really small pagka parang gano'n na parang when I'm given that kind of regard. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just enjoying the ride, no? Pero ang sarap talaga eh, no? And this is what I keep telling young people, no? Kasi we're running a residency program with mentorship, and I'm telling them, the more concerned you are with how you are seen, the easier it is to move on. No? You just keep doing what you do, and then don't expect anything. No? So I guess that's the fun part about it.
Thank you.
You want me to answer?
Na-answer mo, nasagot mo na kanina eh. Nasagot mo na rin kanina dun sa ano mo.
Okay. Oh, I answered it already. You just weren't listening. No. What was the question? I don't know. What is not social realism? Okay.
I think yung
I think-
labels kasi na ano tayo, masyadong.
What?
Na-stuck dun sa labels.
Yeah, we're stuck on that label, so it doesn't want me to talk about it anymore. Okay. I don't know. I think everything is social realism. I don't know, every art. I mean, you know, we're doing our social thing here as artists, and look, this is reality. I mean, I'm being facetious, but in a sense, to really get to the essence, these are just labels, you know, and everything is social anyways. We always interact with people unless, you know, you're in the woods communicating with nature, you know, maybe that's natural realism, okay?
doesn't IE enhance or look into the satirical and the sarcastic way that you look at society in your painting?
Yeah, I use a lot of sarcasm, irony. I mean, it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, of course.
You know, you use a lot of humor. You know.
But do you seek the help now of artificial intelligence for that? To
No.
expand, to have more things?
I don't know. Maybe my intelligence is artificial too. So
Maybe.
maybe we're all artificially intelligent.
I'm sure of that, many of us. Thank you.
But anyway, I don't know. It's just a tool, I guess.
Yeah, but there are many more ways of expanding since artificial intelligence uses also a lot of the past and the future.
Yeah.
And then, so it can give new idea. That's what I say.
Yeah,
To expand
I-
your way of seeing
I
and
guess,
approach.
I guess when I was a kid, I was using Encyclopedia Britannica to do my homework. You know, it's like, was I cheating back then?
Another question there, and then we'll have.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay.
I really like both of your works downstairs. So there are like some similarities with regards to how you both look at religion and the grand myths and narratives that control or shape our lives. And somehow, when thinking about it, you realize that both these myths have failed us, and slowly people are no longer subscribing to these narratives. Maybe my question is, the way how do you equate religion and art? Do you think that art has become really some sort of also one narrative that is also failing us? And are we reaching a point wherein we are disillusioned with art? And do you think that art has reached an end? Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm black-pilled with that. Yeah, you know, when you're in a fair, they say that an artist who goes to an art fair is like a cow going to the butcher shop. You know, and I have to perform. I have to answer questions. I don't have to? Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of. It's. Yeah, I've actually been disillusioned many times. You know, and it seems like I'm just going through the motions. But where I'm truly sort of a believer in art is when I'm in my studio. Yeah, it's for me. It's also therapy, and it's a coping mechanism to do art, and maybe other people or the audience doesn't see it that way. But for me, it's in some ways. I don't want to equate it with food, but it's also a poison for me. So it's also a drug.
Yeah.
In some ways, you know.
Manny, go.
I'm an optimist. So, yeah, I mean, even if you go through what's this, periods of disillusionment, in the end you realize, I mean, that's why I always recommend art history or history. Because once you are a good student of history, you realize that there are really, really low moments in history, global or national. And then people rise up again. So there's that resiliency. No? And one of the things that I should say is very positive, or parang kind of something to be optimistic about. Just look at the many art schools that are, popping up, coming out. No? Ang dami-dami. And art is becoming very attractive, especially to young people. No? Because the way I see it, no? And like Manuel just mentioned just now, no? Parang about being something like fulfilled when you're in your studio. Was that how you put it?
I forgot.
Yeah,
But
well, something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, I guess.
You feel
Yeah.
safe in your studio.
Yeah.
So it's not only indulgent, no, but it's actually those moments when you feel and realize that you're actually in control of your life. Di ba? Kasi especially nowadays, especially for young people, you're so subjected to a lot of pressure, no, in terms of belongingness. And that idea of belongingness is really social media. No? So there's a lot of pressure to conform to the culture in the social media, where you have to constantly curate the manner by which you project yourself so that you get accepted by people you don't even know. Di ba? So doing art provides you with that moment of empowerment. At least you generate your own meaning in a world that is progressively losing its meaning. Di ba? So, and I guess at some point there would be some kind of convergence, and again, I guess a resurgence of those grand narratives and all those things that we kind of rejected at the right now. No? Who knows?
But having a studio is also a luxury, no? I think. I mean.
Well, you can have a studio anywhere. Right? I can paint right here.
Yes.
Okay.
You can see like
No, but
street,
not
the street
all
artists.
Well, yes, of course.
Or even the ones selling their drawings. And
Pwedeng sa lab mo lang. Pwede.
Oo nga. There's a question. Yes.
Hello. So with the mention of AI a while ago, so with the fast approach of modernization, such as AI, do you think there's still hope from preventing art from being distorted by new technology practices?
if it gets distorted, yeah, it's art is already distorted with money, by money. It is already distorted by. Artists are just artisans and slaves to money and to the powerful. But we tend to subvert it in some ways and insert a little Trojan horse here or Trojan horse there, But we're just conforming.
But then AI is not only a threat to art, no? I mean, it also expands the vocabulary of it. But that's not the only thing. No? The main threat that AI poses really is more on the non-creatives. No? Because just imagine, you study medicine for 10 years and then suddenly a computer does the job better than you. No? So yung ganon. So parang just imagine all that time and money invested for the study. No? So I think the best part about the realization of what AI poses for us in the future is it compels us to be more creative, to be more analytical, to be more critical. No? Because these are fundamental skills for us to be adaptive, to be able to adjust to whatever new conditions we confront. And they're not teaching that in school. That's the problem with our educational system. We are not taught to think, we are taught to obey. No? So there has to be a major shift in the pedagogy in our school system.
There was even a meme that says AI does the writing so that I can do the dishes and the laundry, not the other way around. AI should be doing the laundry dishes so I could do the writing. But, no. Huh? Yeah. But doesn't clean it enough. Yeah.
It's not programmed well. Maybe you have a question for
myself?
for each other. I don't know. Before we end the session, because we're almost done.
When do we get paid for this?
Oh, you will. Later, after. Akala ko nga meron na eh. Dapat by this time naabot na.
I'm just kidding.
Hindi, pero meron dapat.
I'm looking at them. I'm just kidding.
Any more questions? Okay, I think we can close. Yeah. Unless you want to say anything else.
Well, you didn't ask us about, what is it that you were going to ask us?
I did.
Our memory? Okay, you asked us already.
Kasi parang
It becomes redundant already.
No, yes, you mentioned it already, so I didn't want to repeat it.
Okay.
Although there's one question pala. Both of you refer to history. How do you compile your archives of images? Obviously, sa'yo, Manuel, maraming, like, do you have like, what are your sources and ways of compiling them for reference for future projects? So it's really more yung process na.
I don't know, my studio is a mess. So things are just cluttered all over.
Whatever's available.
Yeah, whatever's available.
I think that's the beauty of technology. You can just kind of search whenever you feel like you need something to refer to.
Yun ang advantage ng Kwan.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for
Thank you.
spending some time.
Thank you for bearing with us.